everyone. Thank you for being a part of our Central Virginia Transportation Authority meeting. Today is Friday, February 27th, 2026. We ask that you join me by standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a member who is interested in participating from a remote location. I received the request from Ms. Barbara Nelson, and she's asked to participate remotely because of her principal residence being more than 60 miles from the meeting location. Is there a motion to entertain allowing her to be a part of our meeting through remote participation?
Motion to approve the chair's decision on that.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, Ms. Nelson, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much for the accommodation.
No problem. Thank you for being with us today. Are there any amendments to the agenda? All right, hearing none. You all received the Cvta meeting minutes from January 23rd. Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped all over certification of the form. Ma'am, do you mind leading us through the certification of the form, please?
County of Ashland, Mr. Trebek.
Here.
Charles City County, Mr. Patterson.
Present.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
I'm here.
Goochland County, Mr. Winfrey.
Here.
Hanover County, Mr. Davis. Mr. Hudson.
Present.
Henrico County, Mr. Nelson.
Here.
New Kent County, Ms. Pearson.
Here.
Powhatan County, Mr. Donati.
Here.
City of Richmond, Mayor Mula.
Here.
House of Delegates, Ms. Cousins. Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Here.
Capital Region Airport Commission, Mr. Miller.
Present.
GRTC, Ms. Adams.
Yeah.
RMTA, Ms. Dean. Ms. Marshall. VDRPT, Ms. Zimmerman. Here. VDOT, Mr. Britch. Mr. Riplett.
Mr. Cotton is here. We'll read up this morning.
Thank you. Virginia Port Authority, Mr. Edwards. Ms. Nelson,
Present.
and we do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Again, colleagues, I apologize for that. Now we move to approval of Cvta meeting minutes from January 23rd. Are there any questions or concerns before we move to approval?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I did notice at the bottom of page 6, there's a reference to Chet Parsons, and the person is Chad Parsons. With that correction, I'm fine with moving to.
Well, thank you, sir. We did that. Yeah, we did that. We did that on purpose. Yeah, make sure somebody was paying attention. I will correct that. Thank you, sir. Any other concerns? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion to receive the minutes?
Second.
All right. Motion and second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We move now to our open public comment. If you are here this morning to speak on anything other than our round 4 regional projects, there'll be a separate public hearing for that later in the agenda. If you're here in person or you are online, that was an opportunity to speak to any non-round 4 project funding. All right, but again, that'll be later in the meeting. Is there anyone here to speak? Public comments? All right, what about anyone online?
Yep.
There is one, none, round four. All right, well, let's go ahead and hear from, who is that?
Jeremy Hoffman.
All right, Mr. Hoffman, Jeremy Hoffman. Floor is yours, sir. Mr. Hoffman, are you there?
Move it over. Should be good now.
Say that again, Sid.
Yep, he should be okay now.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Hoffman. You're unmuted now, sir.
Hi, yes, good morning. I am actually here to speak about round four later on this morning. I'm sorry for misunderstanding your instructions.
All right, no problem. We'll hold you in the queue until then. Anyone else? Non-round four funding. All right, hearing none, we will continue to move forward. The only comments I have as it relates to a chairman's report is to thank everyone that has gotten us to this point. And so I'll say that now and then reiterate it later. It's hard work. A lot of meetings, a lot of discussions, being a part of this go around. All of our localities in some way played a part. Our staff did a tremendous job. So what you see today comes forward because we have committed people and localities that want to see us do best for our region. So we'll circle back. Chad, I'm gonna turn the floor over. Do you have anything for the executive director's report before we go to our new business?
Mr. Chair, you just summarized everything that I was going to say, so thank you very much. I'm happy to move forward.
Thank you, sir. We're going to new business right now, round four, regional project public hearing. And so there are a lot of elements to this. I'm gonna turn the floor over to Chet, who is going to remind us in some ways and bring forth information for us to be prepared to vote for it tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to begin with a summary of the public engagement process that the Cvta followed to get out information about the projects that were being considered, the work that the technical committee and the finance committee have been doing. So that's item 1A under new business. The first thing I wanted to highlight is actually on page 13 of the agenda packet, which is the press release that was sent out for the 15-day public comment period. That was released on February 5th, notifying everyone engaged with the Cvta that the comment period will be from Wednesday, February 11th through Thursday, February 26th, which was yesterday. As part of that press release, we included the project listing, which is on page 14 of the packet. This is an encapsulation of the projects that passed the criteria, the application process, went through all the eligibility criteria, the funding process that is outlined in the regional prioritization framework that the Cvta has adopted, and was then placed on a consideration list for action by the authority today. As part of that process, if you look at the table itself on page 14, there are two separate indicators on this table. There are rows that are basically transparent, and then there are rows that are green that have an asterisk in the right-hand column that meets the funding criteria. Using the scoring process and the ranking and prioritization tools that the Cvta has, the projects that are in green pass all of the funding criteria for each different type of transportation improvement, whether that is transit or bicycle pedestrian or highway or bridge or PE or multimodal. And so those projects that are in green were automatically placed on a list for consideration by the technical committee. Those projects were then advanced through the actions of our support committees to be on the agenda for today. The second part of that process is that The scoring criteria and the framework has allowances that the CVTA's priorities are to fully fund projects whenever possible. So there are instances where each of the different types of transportation improvements may have a leftover balance after those projects in green were identified. That unallocated balance was another item for consideration by both our technical committee and finance committee, and they've been working through that diligently for the past few months. Today's public hearing is for both the published framework list, which I'll call what's in the packet, and then the unallocated balance and where that funding may be also applied. The technical committee and finance committee have both made recommendations, and those will be reviewed soon. As part of the public hearing and the public comment period, we did have a wide variety of media coverage over the past few weeks, and Mo has done a great job in summarizing that. That is a handout that was presented this morning that everyone should have at your seat. And if you're tuning in online or watching remotely, that has also been posted to the meeting page, that summary packet. But just a couple of highlights. The Henrico Citizen did a very detailed story towards the beginning of the public engagement period, and I would point you to that. But we also had great social media coverage through lots of different partners on at least 4 different platforms. I'm not aware of other platforms, so there may be other platforms where it's been shared as well. But then there's just some highlights and some screen captures of that kind of thing. We were able to share the information about the Round 4's progress on Virginia This Morning on television, and WRIC also shared information on a homepage takeover that was done, as well as the Henrico Citizen. It was a sidebar for the entire length of the public comment period. So in addition to the legal advertisement that we are required to do, I think you can see through this information that we kind of tried to go as far as possible beyond that to share it to all of our partners and stakeholders in the region. That the last thing I wanted to highlight before moving on to the next item was written public comments. As I mentioned earlier, the public comment period closed yesterday at 3 p.m. So following the closure of that public comment period, staff, Mo primarily did a great job in summarizing and compiling all of the written public comments received. Those were emailed out to authority members last night. And that was also printed and put at your seat. But we also placed that on the meeting page as well for anyone who is watching remotely and wants to go check out those comments and to make sure your comments were there. I think that's an important thing. So, Mr. Chair, that's kind of a summary of where we are. And then today, in terms of the hearing, when we get to that point, we have attendees, as we've noted already, that are virtually signed on. So we have a process that I'll introduce to allow them to participate remotely. And we have some folks in the room too that want to share their thoughts.
All right, thank you, sir. Any comments before we continue? I do want to just say again, thank you, Chet, thank you, Mo, team, for full court press, which is not as easy in the in this particular time in history. Not just 6/8/12 original time dispatch anymore. So it clearly is trying to use many different avenues to get the word out. So thank you for the full court press as it relates to that. All right, are we good to move on? All right, let's go ahead and hear our TAC report for round 4 regional funding. Page 21, if you're looking in the packet. But sir, I'm gonna turn the floor over to you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. So TAC met on the 9th. The main topic of discussion concerned the unallocated balances of the regional round 4 funding. You will recall that TAC had developed 4 options for consideration, and at your previous meeting, you asked TAC to consider a 5th option. We call it the Henrico proposal. That option was based upon an unallocated balance of roughly 48.3 million, in addition to 25 million in funding assigned for leveraging. After quite a bit of discussion on a second vote, TAC voted in favor of a variation of option 5, the Henrico option, with an adjustment to increase funding for Route 33 and a decrease, corresponding decrease for the Fulton Yard project. Following that meeting, however, staff determined that the funding that was designated for leveraging was not available. Therefore, it essentially invalidated TAC's recommendation. So TAC called a special meeting 2 days later and continued the discussion. And after a little bit of back and forth, we voted unanimously in favor of the proposal, which is presented in page 23 of your agenda package. With that, if I just say one more word, I would like to take a moment and to commend my colleagues on TAC for their cooperation and willingness to compromise, which is not always an easy thing to do when such large sums are on the table. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to take any questions about our deliberations.
How many meetings did you have about this?
Well, we had two meetings, maybe before that, I guess 3, when we came up with the 4 options. So 3 meetings, sir.
So three formal meetings.
Yes, sir.
You probably had 10, 20 informal phone calls, etc.
There was a lot of discussion outside of the formal meetings, yes.
Lot of discussion, yes, sir. Colleagues, questions? Again, I commend you for your work leading this group, and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our finance chair is celebrating his 50th wedding anniversary today. And though this is a very important meeting, 50 years of marriage, there should be nothing that tops that. So our vice chair, who is the mayor of the city of Richmond, will give us our finance committee report.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I wanted to express my gratitude to Finance Committee, both for flexibility to jump into a second meeting this month before this one, and particularly to my colleagues around the region as we work through proposals for the unallocated funding. I think we got to a really good place, and not necessarily on behalf of the Finance Committee, but on behalf of Danny, just very excited about the real commitments to transit. When you think about the GRTC Downtown Transit Hub, expanding the Pulse out into Henrico, the VPRA Fulton Yard facility. I mean, it's really, and then obviously we're a really diverse region with lots of different needs, and I feel like this slate that we're gonna look at really covers a lot of this. So TAC, thank you for really digging in, as Chairman mentioned, and I'll hand to Chet and Lauren, I guess, for any. Are we doing Finance Committee now? Yeah. Okay, great.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'd actually like to wait through that.
Okay. All right.
All right, so thank you, sir. Chet, let's go ahead and move into the public comment period.
Yes, sir. I do have a script that I'd like to read. This is primarily targeted to our participants that are remote. Welcome to everyone joining us virtually. We're glad you're able to participate in today's public hearing. For those attending remotely, there are 2 ways to provide public comment during the public comment period. You may speak live, or you may submit a written comment. Both options, we are using the Zoom Q&A feature. When the public comment period opens, you can open Q&A to either request time to speak or submit a written comment. Staff will manage the speaker queue and collect written comments through that tool. When it's your turn to speak, we'll call your name and unmute you. Written comments will be entered into the public record and reviewed by the authority. We've also shared, I see it, a step-by-step guide in the chat with detailed instructions and examples for both spoken and written comments. It should be fairly straightforward. If you're unsure what to do, please refer to that guide. Thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to listening to your input. Mr. Chair, I would recommend, once the authority opens the public comment period, we take the folks that are in the room, that they may want to share their thoughts initially, and then we'll move to the virtual platform.
So do you want me to lead that, or you have the name? So
Yes, sir. I will
Okay.
manage the queue, but the authority needs to open the public.
All right, well, we officially open the public comment period now. Are there any persons here that want to speak to round four funding, the round four funding scenario? If so, let me just get just a show of hands real quick. How many persons we have? Four people? All right, is there a time limit? Do we usually do a time limit?
I would say 3 or 4 minutes.
All right.
Usually we have.
All right. Let's, you four, we'll just take you one by one, and if you just come up, let us know your name, if you represent the organization, and if you're just a citizen, let us know where you're from. And just be respectful of the time. We don't have a timer, but we'll let you know if you're going too long.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Brantley Tyndall, Director of Bike Walk RVA and Sports Backers. It wasn't so long ago that many of us sat in meetings where the creation of the authority was debated. Once in a generation collaboration among our regional localities hinged on the support of the General Assembly and many stakeholders, and getting the structure and purpose of that was essential. People were asking, what is it for? How should it be structured? Who would it truly serve? And today, I think we're seeing the answer. There's no place in the region where biking and walking are not important or more important than others. And active transportation is not confined to one jurisdiction, one corridor, or one kind of person. Wherever we go, people increasingly want safe, comfortable places to walk and bike, not just for recreation, but to get to work or to school, to transit, and to make multimodal connections, and to places that shape our daily lives. And since 2020, we put our trust in the process. We figured then that the fall line, then called the Ashland to Petersburg Trail, would get a little funding here and there and would supplement existing funding streams. Instead, this body took the initiative to supercharge its investment, to leverage its early funding to seek significant matches from the state and give this transformational trail momentum and confidence in a time when otherwise we would be facing inertia and doubt. We could not be more proud of how the fall line is being developed and the continued support it is receiving here. The fall line is more than a trail. It's a spine that connects communities, will eventually move millions, and embodies who we are as a region. The model trails we look to across the country are generating economic returns that far exceed their original investment. From Greenville to Indianapolis to Bentonville, these signature urban multi-use trails are among their region's most prioritized and effective economic engines. We're starting to see that same momentum here, and it is inspiring to see each of our local governments leading their own charge on their own placemaking trail development with pride. We are incredibly encouraged to see a majority of project applications and those that are scored for funding here today featuring bike ped components. I think it's maybe the first time in the past 5 years. It's very exciting to see. We have to thank you both at the Cvta and for your member local governments for uplifting these projects, and we look forward to seeing them developed into a comprehensive regional network. Together, we're creating a region where people have options, access to the outdoors, economic opportunity, and community vibrancy. And ultimately, this is essential for solving our pedestrian safety problem, which I know is at the top of everyone's mind today. Thank you for your commitment to a more connected region.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is Barry O'Keefe. I'm a lifelong Richmonder and I'm a member of Homes for All Our Neighbors, which is a coalition in Richmond of affordable housing and environmental organizations working towards an equitable code refresh process, but my comments are not on behalf of that organization. I speak for myself. I think we're at an inflection point nationally and internationally where research into the harm done by highway systems to communities is starting to bear fruit. And for context, in 2022, the Colorado Department of Transportation officially shifted from a policy of highway expansions for I-25 and Route 470. In 2022, in Los Angeles, they abandoned an 18-mile expansion of the 710 and dedicated those funds, which was over $100 million, to transit, walking, and biking. In the background, we have the costly removal of highway systems in Rochester, the inner loop, Milwaukee's Park East, Boston's I-93. And just recently, our friends at Bike Walk went to Greenville, South Carolina, where 20 years ago, they removed a highway downtown that has been a catalyst for change in their downtown towards a more multimodal city that we are studying and trying to bring those lessons to our region. I think creating places that are easy to move through in a car and creating places that are worth spending time in and that are economically vibrant are mutually exclusive goals. And so I would ask this body to reconsider allocating $20 million to a highway expansion of the Powhite Parkway and how those funds could be used to further our goals in transit, walking, biking, and meeting our other goals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tim Pollard, and I'm here representing the First Part of Growth. We believe that everyone deserves to be able to get around the region in a way that is healthy and safe for them, whether that be taking the bus or driving a car or walking and biking. And for that reason, we're here to continue to ask that regional tax dollars be increasingly directed towards public transit and walking and biking projects. We appreciate all the work that this authority has put in to this process. We know it's been difficult and working regionally never comes easy. And we appreciate seeing all the funding that is going towards the Fall Line Trail, as well as the Fulton Rail Yard, as well as the Western BRT expansion. However, we still have some concerns. At the beginning of this recommendation process for funding, significantly more money was recommended for transit projects and pedestrian or active transportation projects, and is currently being recommended. While we understand working together is difficult, and with all this money, it's like it can be hard, but that does not diminish the impacts of how this money is spent. And so, again, thank you all for all the work. We just continue to ask that more funding be allocated towards transit and active transportation projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Don O'Keefe. I'm an architect, board member of Eden Village of Richmond, architecturerichmond.com, which is a website that covers architecture and urban issues, advisory board member of the Branch Museum, and I'm a lecturer in architecture at Harvard University. So I'd like to echo the comments of some others and say that I strongly support using this surplus funds for transit, bicycle, pedestrian infrastructure projects, and so on, operating on the assumption that for far too long, far too much of our resources have been spent on automobile infrastructure. And to the extent that we are making upgrades to the street grids and roads that serve our region, such as in the Chaco Valley project, we should make sure that those upgrades are laying a foundation for a kind of walkable mixed-use urban future, rather than what, in my view, the Chaco Valley project is doing, which is to kind of make it a little bit too easy for big cars and trucks to get around. But being that time is limited, I would like to focus my comments today on the Powhite expansion, which I do think is a mistake. Not only do I think that these funds shouldn't be used for it, but I think the project shouldn't go ahead. I know that it was first mentioned in the 1989 Chesterfield Thoroughfare Plan, so it's been a long time coming. And it's been a few years now that the project has been publicly resurfaced. You know, I've objected to it in a few forums since then, as have many others. I think it's going to continue to fuel unsustainable suburbanization and sprawl. And I don't think it's going to lead to a future that we want to go to collectively as a region. It may be that there's too much inertia behind that project to stop it. I'm aware of that. But I would like to put forward for your consideration that we should be very careful as a city and as a region to not allow this to become the standard for the future of urban growth in Metro Richmond. And by that, I mean expanding the highway system beyond this outer loop of 288 on 95. We're already sort of completed an outer ring highway system. So if we continue to build highways beyond that ring, we're going to invite a form of development which is essentially going to lead to Central Virginia being nothing more than a sort of suburban agglomeration, and I think that would be a mistake. Instead, we could develop the land we already have, which is ample, to bring new businesses, people into Richmond and continue to grow the region, which has become a more and more vital place with every passing year. So I think if we focus on using land we have efficiently and creating a mixed use and multimodal transit future, then we can have a safer and more sustainable, economically vital and healthy region in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the room want to speak during this public comment period? All right, seeing no one else, Chair, let's go ahead and move to online.
All right, I am looking at the Q&A box, and I would remind everyone that is attending virtually, if you would like to speak or share comments, please note that in the Q&A, and we'll make sure to recognize you and ask you to share your thoughts. I do have a written comment from Timothy. I'm assuming it's Wilkie. And I could just read that. Good morning, my name is Timothy Wilkie, and I am a resident of the city of Richmond. I'd like to thank the Cvta members on their hard work. Regarding the upcoming proposed budget, I strongly support the proposed Fulton Yard labor facility to support enhanced Amtrak operations. I urge Cvta to provide the full ask of $15 million to support the construction of the Fulton Yard labor facility. All right, thank you, Mr. Wilkie. And then Jacob Sherrod is saying that they are interested in speaking. So if we can grant Jacob mic access. I think you are here. Jacob, can you hear us?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How's everybody doing? I'm a Henrico resident. I'm also the community coordinator at Strong Towns RVA. Among other things, we're a group dedicated to financially sound and low-cost multimodal transportation options. Today, the Cvta is voting on lots of important projects across the region. It's important as the goal of this, whether it would be trying to reduce or improve transportation. Some of the items are considered would do a job at preventing traffic. Highway extensions and expansions, like the Powhite Parkway extension and the Chaco Valley Streets project, would do a great job at reducing traffic for a few years. Yet, because of the principle of induced demand, these projects will eventually only attract more drivers, eventually leading to increased traffic for all on roads that have been made less safe by widening and expansion. And I know, again, safety is on everybody's mind, as I said earlier.
We can't hear him.
Jacob, you're breaking up, and we're having issues hearing you clearly.
I apologize. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. If we're really dedicated to improving public transportation, projects like the new downtown transfer station and the Fulton layover facility will help move more people in less space. They can do more to prevent traffic in the long run by getting cars off the road, increase pedestrian and bicyclist safety, and improve the environment by reducing congestion and vehicle miles traveled. By investing in these forward-looking projects, we can use the resources of the Cvta to improve transportation for all.
All right, thank you very much. That is the last person that has indicated their interest in speaking. I'll do one last call for those attendees that are remote. If anyone else would be interested in sharing comments, please note that now. Okay, Mr. Chair, I believe that is all of the virtual attendees.
All right, thank you. Colleagues, before we entertain a motion, I'm gonna give you opportunity now to kind of share whatever comments you may have before we open the floor to hear a motion. Are there any comments from any of you? Colleagues, questions?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Ms. Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Although I do understand the sentiments of some of the speakers that have spoke against the Poet Parker extension, I think some people don't understand actually why we have to do this road in the first place. I wish we didn't, to be honest with you. But Mag Green was approved in 1991. It's gonna be over 3,600 houses. Harper's Mill, 2,300 houses. Fox Creek, Foxcroft, Foxfire. I can sit here and name a bunch more neighborhoods that have come out of the ground. All the while, when all of these developments are being approved throughout the years, talking about the Poet Park extension being built to Hull Street. It's essential, not just as a reliever for Woolward Road and Hull Street Road and the other other roads that are currently heavily congested. It will continue to get heavily congested. When you talk about future growth, the only good thing out there that will stop that is the fact that sewer is not available west of Mag Green, which means future development further west is going to be extremely difficult without putting a sewage treatment plant on the upper end of the Appomattox where it borders the Amelia line. That, in my opinion, almost everybody in this room will probably no longer on this planet when that even becomes to even be a thought. And there are thousands of acres further west that will essentially remain undeveloped in Chesterfield, some which have been put into conservation easements. But over the years, through once 288 was built and came through, and other previous board members approved these developments, and I've approved some since I've been on the board as well, it's created a necessity for this. We've also put a work site, industrial site in place in the Upper Mag piece, which will allow for job creation for people who, instead of having to get on 288 North and drive all the way to the beautiful county of Goochland to work, or the beautiful county of Henrico to work, which they're doing currently every day, they could stay in Chesterfield County and work there. At some of the job creation that will happen within Chesterfield. Who knows? They might even be able to ride their bike to work if they live in Westerly or Summit Lake or some of the other neighborhoods out there that'll be adjacent to this job creation. And so I understand why some people think that it's a waste to do the road. It's not. It's actually essential to get caught up on the development that's been approved throughout the years that has now caused major congestion in the western part of Hull Street. West of 288 right now, between the Clover Hill District and the Matoka District, you have over 80,000 people living out there, which is greater the population of the Clover Hill District individually, the Midlothian District individually, Dale individually, or Bermuda individually. Over 80,000. And it's growing. And so the road is necessary to, again, for job creation and as a reliever for the traffic congestion. But what we did do, which most people probably didn't pay attention to, is we actually removed the extension of that off the comprehensive plan. The East-West Freeway, which would have come south from the extension right through the Richmond Metro Zoo and all the way through the heart of Matoka, has been removed from our comprehensive plan. Why? Because I agree with some of what they said. We actually kind of need to keep some of the country, so people can actually live in a different environment. So in Chesterfield, Henrico, Richmond, if you want to live in a townhome, if you want to live in an apartment, if you want to live in a gated community, or if you want to live in a walkable community, those options are available. But if you want to live in the southern part of Chesterfield, in Matoka, and live on country land, you're going to be able to do that. And so there are some people who are not happy with the fact that we took that off, because the build out plan for the county in the long term was to essentially turn all of Chesterfield into Fairfax County. And I said, I don't want to do that. And part of this, just that we've also done out there, is we've added a 400-acre conservation easement around our schools that will have bike trails and opportunities for people to be able to go from these neighborhoods to the schools all the way to Horner Park. So I understand that some people look at this project and say it's not needed. They need to look at the history and understand why it's needed, why we have to build it. I wish we didn't, because it's an expensive project. But every time I talk to people in the western part of Hull Street that live in these neighborhoods, what I get from them is, when are you gonna build a public park extension? So, Mr. Chair, I'm really grateful to the Cvta TAC and all the members from the different jurisdictions who have looked at this and said, and help us to support this project, because I think it's gonna be a quality of life issue in the future for the people that live in Chesterfield. I am, looking at the bigger long-term picture here, and I understand, we as a county have to look at our comprehensive plan as well, like everybody else, to determine land use and what would be appropriate, not appropriate, in this part of the county. So, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to make those comments since, I think it's a worthy project for my community, and that's why I'm pushing for it. So thank you for the time and the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Mr. Carroll. Anyone else? I'm gonna get Chet to kind of run through the project list one more time before we get a motion from the floor. Anyone else have any other comments before? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I just wanted to thank the members who worked to include the Fulton Yard project in it. So thank you to members from Henrico and the city of Richmond and all of you for looking to make that work. That is a project that really is vital for the whole Commonwealth and the Eastern Seaboard, but especially how Virginia continues to improve our passenger rail service and will play a critical role in being able to house vehicles that will strengthen the connection of this region all across the state and beyond. So I just want to call out my the appreciation from Commonwealth for that. As well as, again, excited to see a number of the transit and multimodal projects that are included in the list. So
And tell everybody here, those who are watching online, who you are.
oh, I am Maria Zimmerman. I am the director of the Virginia Department of Rail and Public Transportation.
Yes, ma'am. So thank
And
you.
an ex officio member, so I can't vote on the package. I can say I think.
Yeah, so the Fulton Yard project is listed as a Henrico project, but it really is it's a regional project, the same way the transfer station is a Richmond project, but it's a regional project. So, well, I'm about to get ready to go off on a tangent, so let me stop there. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Just to add to a couple of things, having worked for a bank in Chesterfield County for many years, and I know the history of the Powhite, and I fully support, over the years, it's probably long overdue, and it's been something that's on a lot of people's mind regionally for a long time. But some of the comments, and I'm so new to this, I'm learning, so I may be off base here, but some of the sentiments were for transit and so forth, and then also rail is sort of a non-highway thing. And so, the discussions and I notice on this list that we have paid a lot of attention to transit. And so that's not being overlooked by this group. And so it's something that's going to continue to, I'm sure, be taken into consideration.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Miller.
Harry Miller, President and CEO of the Richmond International Airport, which is managed by the Capital Region Airport Commission. So in the same vein that my colleague had just heard, I'm very grateful that the Beulah Road relocation project was included in this round. Right now, there are 200+ acres that is on the airport property, but there's no access for aircraft to get to the property. So not only does this project enable the Guard to accomplish its mission by having access to the airfield, it also opens 220 acres, which is a really large piece of property, open to further economic development in the form of something that is, that will go along with aviation. And it makes this property M2 eligible. So thank you very much. I think this is an excellent example of regional cooperation, especially since I heard there was some negotiation on the table to get this project approved. So thank you all very much.
Yes, sir. There was some negotiation. I heard that. I'll just leave it right there. Negotiation is a good word for it. Yes, sir. Anybody else? All right, Chad, if you don't mind, real quickly, just, well, not real quickly, but take your time, run through your list for me if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Page 21 in your packet is the staff report related to this action item. And just quickly, the first page, it essentially follows the reporting that we've heard this morning from the technical committee as well as the finance committee. In terms of the process that was followed, the dates that the meetings were held, and the public hearing. I did want to note on page 23 is a summary of, at the time when the agenda was put together, the TACT recommendation, which includes both the projects that were awarded that met the scoring criteria, which, as we looked at earlier, was the green rows and the tables that were presented, as well as any recommendations that were focused on those unallocated funds. So if you look at this table, it captures all of the project applications. First of all, this was the entire list of projects that we received back in August from member localities that would like to receive regional funds. Some of these projects did not meet the criteria, either due to dollar amount funding requested that was way above the available funds in that category, or other reasons. But you will see the third from the right and the second from the right columns shows the potential fund, the recommended funds for particular projects that met either the scoring criteria or the unallocated fund discussion points at both committees. And then the last column will be the total award for that item. As I said, this reflects all of the project applications that were received, as well as the list of potential bond projects that could have been considered in this round or as a result of this round. So this is a snapshot of everything that TAC recommended February 12th, and then the Finance Committee supported this morning at their last meeting to review this information. So the action today, unless there are any adjustments that the board wishes to make, is to approve the project list and the funding that is presented in this table on page 23. The action actually that is in the agenda is for Central Virginia Transportation Authority approval of the round 4 regional funding scenario and development of the 2026 Cvta regional allocations plan.
All right, thank you, Chad. Colleagues, we've discussed this, a lot of time been put into this. We've advertised it. We've given the community a lot of opportunities to kind of share how they feel as well. I think we are now at the point where we're ready to vote. So
Chair, make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
all right, motion has been made and second. All in favor?
Roll call.
I need to do a roll call.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Trevette. Aye. Charles City County, Mr. Patterson.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Winfrey.
Aye.
Hanover County, Mr. Hudson.
Aye.
Henrico County, Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
Powhatan County, Mr. Donati.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mayor Bulla.
Aye.
New Kent County, Ms. Pearson. Aye. Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, motion passed.
Congratulations.
All right, congrats, everybody who has something to do with this. This is year 5 of the CVTA. And I'm not certain what the General Assembly, whether or not they can envision what has transpired over the last 5 years. The projects, the work put in, what we just voted on was major. And the impact of it will be seen decades. I mean, going forward into the next few decades. So this was major work. And for those of you who are, a part of it, localities that will be impacted, organizations that will be impacted, you ought to leave out of here today knowing that you played a part in something significant happening. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you. And again, Chet, you and your team, TAC, everybody involved, good work. And thank you. All right. Let's move forward to
Appropriate
the
applause.
yeah, it really is. I'm a Baptist preacher, so I'm not used to quiet rooms. We're looking for somebody to throw their hand up and start worshiping. Let's move forward to the CVTA Finance Committee update. I do think there is another piece that we need to the finance activities report up here.
Yes, sir. And actually, I've asked Ms. Shepherd to join us this morning. She was able to give an update to the last Finance Committee meeting on the 11th and wanted to give her an opportunity to share that quarterly update this morning as well.
Thank you. The next slide, please. This latest tax collections and distribution schedule prepared by the authority's fiscal agent reflects the tax activity through December 31, 2025. As a reminder, we've added additional color to this schedule to tie it to the Sankey diagram on the next slide where we'll walk through the numbers. Next slide, please, Sid. Tax revenues are on the left in orange. Sales and use tax at 61 million makes up 75% of the total revenues funding Cvta during this period. Local fuels tax of 20 million makes up 25% for a total of 81 million in revenues during this period. Of the 81 million collected as per the distribution ratio adopted by the authority, 50% for that 40 million in green has been distributed back to the localities. 35% or 28 million in blue has been distributed to the regional fund, and 15% or 12 million in purple to GRTC. The operating fund transfer is that thin pink line at the bottom, which we'll review on the next slide. Next slide, please, Sid. The detailed operating expenses year to date this fiscal year, so July through December 2025, 437,000 has been spent to date, and those expenses are broken down into the four major categories of personnel, professional services, technology, and administration. Preliminary expenses for this fiscal year are tracking appropriately. There are no material changes to annual projections at this time. Any questions before I give a quick update on the financial management system? Okay. As a reminder, Cvta has partnered with Plan RVA to invest in and implement a new financial management system away from QuickBooks, primarily to improve efficiencies and internal controls and provide more effective and faster reporting. The system is called JAMIS, and we are live as of January 1st. Met every critical deadline and milestone to date, though we are not yet done. We've got another 3 to 4 weeks of heads down work, digging into the reporting and forecasting functionality once the final historical data has been migrated over. Thank you again to the authority for your support and investment in this critical project. That's all I've got. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Parsons.
Yes, the last item in that slide deck, Sid, I don't know if you could share that again, was the monthly investment report from December. Just a couple quick highlights. The Finance Committee has been tracking this, but the Fed last lowered rates in December following two previous reductions in September and October. Interest earnings have leveled off and are consistent with the prior year. You can see that at the bottom left of this slide and in your packet. So we are, as you could tell, we've watched interest earnings grow. So we're eagerly anticipating the day when those earnings continue to rise. But our portfolio in general consists of all highly liquid funds right now, which are mostly pooled funds and money market funds. They have outperformed yield benchmarks in December, but moving forward into the rest of 2026, yields are expected to trend downward. Obviously, that is not impacting just the Cvta. That's all across the country. So we are working closely with our fiscal agents in Chesterfield to make sure that Finance Committee has the best available information and can continue to shepherd this body through this time and move towards continued earnings and applicable funds that can be put on additional projects.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you, Chet. Is there anything as relates to agency reports?
Mr. Chair, I don't believe so. There was a link in the agenda packet to the Plan RVA newsletter, which contains some snapshots that are really useful information that kind of summarizes the work that Plan RVA is doing, as well as the Transportation Planning Organization and their partnership with us at the Cvta. I will note, there are a number of folks in the room that have been involved in the last few days with the TPO's certification review with Federal Highways, Federal Transit Administration. That's a big deal. And my understanding after attending the review on Wednesday was that all signs are great, that the review went very, very well. And that's a testament to the preparation that Plan RVA has done, as well as the member localities, to make sure that our partners at the federal level have all of the best information on progress and milestones and deliverables that has been happening here regionally. So thank you for your continued support for our partner agency and the work that they're doing to continue moving the region forward.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, colleagues, before we adjourn this meeting, we give you the opportunity to share anything you want to, locality news, etc. During this moment before we adjourn. Anyone around the table have anything they want to share about upcoming events? All right, hearing none. Meeting adjourned.